How happy were you to see Brady Tkachuk still on the board at number 4?
We were ecstatic. We had a good idea of what Buffalo and Carolina were going to do. We didn't know what Montreal was going to do, and that's, there were no indications what direction they were going to go. They took a good player. But at our pick at 4, we've talked in the last few days about character, accountability, leadership. We know Brady Tkachuk brings a lot of those elements to the table. We feel that Brady Tkachuk is going to be an integral part of our team. It could be as soon as this upcoming September.
What do you like about him, Trent?
Well, he brings a lot of pieces to his game. He brings offense, he brings size, he brings character. He's good in all 3 zones. He's a smart player. He can make plays, at the end of the day, he drags you into the fight whether you want to be there or not. So that's what you're going to get. And you know what you're getting. Shift in and shift out. Game in and game out. It's the only way he knows how to do it. And we're extremely excited about that combination of that size and approach along with the skill set that he has. And we thought there was no other guy to take.
This could be for either of you, but does the bloodlines mean anything?
For our side of things, for us, I think both of us, if I can speak on behalf of you, Trent,
Definitely.
It's outstanding. We've seen the father play. The father had an illustrious NHL career. We've seen the brother play. And adding a third Tkachuk to the NHL family, it's only good for the NHL, and it's even better for the Ottawa Senators.
How many times have you seen him?
Probably around 8 or 9 times. Saw him at the World Junior. Really liked how he played there. Got a chance to see him play for BU. Really, every time that we went in, we talked to each other and we said, how could we ever go by Brady Tkachuk?
Pierre, you talked yesterday a bit about, during the season, about the dressing room stuff. Brady talked a little bit about, he was aware what's going on in Ottawa, but he said it's great organization and he wants to be part of the solution. How much did a character like that, obviously you're drafted for skill, but,
Mike, you got a good point. We draft for skill, but we also draft for character. We drafted someone that we feel can bring the total package. Guys like that, you can never get them on the trade market. Those guys are impossible to get. Winners with character that can produce offensively, and we suffered this year. We suffered greatly this year, but the reward for our suffering this year is Brady Tkachuk, and that's a pretty good reward.
Pierre, your team was the subject of a lot of speculation with respect to possible trades. Just wondering how that went and whether or not anything ever came close. Or
I was expecting that from Bruce.
Well, let's mix it up.
Today's about the 2 picks we picked. We're not going to talk about roster players. The only thing I'm going to say, Ken, there was one trade, I think, today.
Well, involving players, a couple more involving picks.
It was a very quiet day on the phone.
Yeah.
Made a lot of calls, and many calls, the GM saying, hey, you're my first call today. And that happened in the afternoon.
Huh. Did that surprise you?
Oh, I don't know. A lot of things surprised me.
Pierre, the trade with the Rangers, how important was it for you guys to add some more picks in the second day?
Well, I think it goes to the credit of our scouting staff. We think that we have a very good scouting staff and the ability to add another pick. We went from 22 to 26. At that point in time, the guy that we were thinking about taking at 22 is probably the guy we took at 26. No disrespect to anything else that went on, but to add pick 48 on top of that, I think just puts us in a better situation. It just adds another asset to the organization, and we're very happy to do that. I was trying to convince Trent to move down again, but he said there's no chance we're going by Bernard Docker.
What do you like about him, Trent?
Everyone talks about that. Everyone talks about that defenseman that plays in the NHL right now. he exemplifies that. He's a strong skater. He has good puck skills. He shoots. He has an NHL shot. He's going to North Dakota, and North Dakota's done a pretty good job of developing defensemen down there. If you look over recent years, and you don't have to look too far, you can look at one of the guys on our own roster, in Christian Wolanin. So we don't think it'll be. We don't expect him to be there long. That would be the hope anyway. But he just brings a lot of skills that puck moving defenseman has to have now. So we're excited about that. Like, he's going to be able to move the puck up ice for the Ottawa Senators at some point here, hopefully sooner rather than later.
Just looking at his numbers, did he kind of have a breakthrough year offensively?
I don't know if it's a breakthrough year. I think he just matured into some of his the abilities that were there, and confidence is a big part of that. Things went well for him out west in Okotoks. He had lots of opportunity. The coach believed in him, and he just kept taking his game to another level. He's an extremely good kid. Like he's a good player, and he's worked hard at getting better. To the point where his scholarship was moved up and early in the year. So it's just he's just one of those kids that you don't know sometimes how they're going to mature, and he's done it more quickly than most people probably would have thought.
How important was it to be able to get a second rounder and not have to kind of sit there tomorrow for the first 2 rounds?
It's great because we still got a lot of players on the list that we're really excited about. I think we talked about it yesterday, about the passion in the room before we addressed the media. Just got out of that room and they were talking about all the players that they feel will be good NHL players. So to add a second round pick, or to add a second round pick and not wait till the 4th round, is just a bonus for us.
Pierre, you said yesterday that, today you were going to get 2 good players that will, put the fans' attention on what it should be, which is in the future, and be optimistic. Do you think you accomplished that today?
Without a doubt. We definitely accomplished that today. If there are we have a plan in place. We have goals as an organization as soon as training camp starts. And the addition of these 2 players, like one player is going to go to North Dakota. Trent talked about they're a factory developing good defensemen and good players. It's one of the best programs in college hockey. And the addition of Brady Tkachuk, hopefully we can get a contract done. To our organization today, it's definitely a step in the right direction.
How close do you think Brady is to being able to play?
I had a centerman from our current team text me saying he'd like to play with him. You can figure out who it is.
Do you think he's ready, though? He seemed to maybe hint more at BU than perhaps being ready this particular season.
I think there was a quote, then it was a retraction. All we know is when we met with him, he's very open to coming to our training camp.
Why did you take Brady over? There was other talk of there were a couple other players.
Yeah, no, that's a good question.
So, and he even thought maybe you'd flip-flop between him and Zadina or whatever. Why was it that Brady Tkachuk was the right fit for the Ottawa Senators?
Part of our short, medium, long-term plan is to add players like this. And we alluded to a bit earlier. A player of this character, a player of this nature, a player who can score goals in the way that a lot of the goals are scored now around the NHL, all around the net, is something that we find is invaluable. We want this player to be part of our team for the long term, but also in our long-term playoff success. And those players are invaluable when the puck drops in the playoffs. We all saw the playoffs this year. I thought the playoffs were outstanding. We felt bad that we weren't there. Trent was happy because we had a high pick. I was hoping we'd pick 31 at the start of the year. So guys like Brady Tkachuk, and even their value goes even higher when playoffs start. And that's where we want to be.
I think Guy mentioned it a lot in the year. You wanted guys to start going to the net. Is that the type of guy, right? The more the grit guy that will go get his nose dirty.
Power forwards, they're a dime a dozen. And for us to get someone of that caliber, someone with that type of pedigree, someone that we're so excited about. Yeah. I know we're 31 teams or 31 picks this year. Every GM is happy. Every GM is going to give you the same line. This one's really the truth.
Trent, Tkachuk led BU in assists this year. Do you think he might have underrated playmaking abilities as well?
there's balance in his game, and I mean the part that most people maybe not are aware of is the fact that he played with Jordan Greenway as his center, and Jordan Greenway is a winger. And so he became the playmaker on that line. That's what he focused in on to try to make sure that he was creating plays. And good for him. But if you look at his track record, he's a one-for-one kind of guy. Like he'll score as much as he's going to get assists, and really not worried about that part whatsoever. So.
If I can elaborate, Trent, if you allow me, if you look at the World Junior, he scored a lot of goals there. So we know that he can make plays and score goals. That's pretty good.
I mean, he played that team at BU. And no disrespect to BU, but they were thin offensively, just based on the recruiting and losing players. That they lose players, pretty frequently. The players don't play 3 and 4 years at BU, and so that's a team that, in my opinion, it would be my opinion, and it's not no disrespect to them, but they overachieved, and Brady Tkachuk was a big part of that. And there's a reason why they went as far as they did this year. And I'm not saying he's the only guy. Obviously, there was a couple other guys in that team that shouldered some of the load, but he was the main guy, and he was out there for a lot of minutes of those games. So, I mean, you can ask Coach Quinn a few things about him, and I'm sure you're going to hear a lot of the same things that we're saying. So.
Can I be off topic for a sec? Are there many
Oh yeah, come on, Brent.
RFAs that you may not qualify?
We're looking at possibilities of qualifying or not qualifying guys. There's a few that we've not officially done yet, and we're looking at scenarios. I'll answer that question.
And are there anybody that you're on the topic of buyouts that could possibly be here coming shortly?
I think I addressed it at the town hall meetings, and I addressed it yesterday. We don't really want to tip our hands because we got a few possible trades of guys that could be buyout, so we're just going to leave it at that. Today, Brady Tkachuk, Jacob Bernard Docker.